Shalom. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Wadash, for giving me the spirit and power to make this lesson. Double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that teach this truth and rule well. Barbarakatham unto the elect. This is the brother Gabar from the Great Millstone Dallas branch with another lesson. All right. This is going to be going into being focused. Okay, being focused on Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Okay, and ultimately, what it is being solely locked in, all right, on Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, on believing Him, on fearing Him. Okay, how you know you ought to be without any distractions. That's ultimately what it is. Though we're going through certain things, we go through certain tribulation, different things, that you're trying to get done, whatever. Okay, cool. But you can still be focused on Yahweh Bashim Shai. Don't give too much energy to those things. Once you start going overboard and you're giving too much energy to those things or pleasures, then you're losing that focus. And then you're not so single-eyed on the light. So then you're not so full of the light, all right, in your body. Okay, Matthew chapter 6 and verse 22, it says, the light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. Okay, so if your eye can be single, if you can be focused completely on Yahweh Bashim Al Shai without any distraction, though, Satan, all right, the Lord allows it to where he tries you by allowing Satan to put you in certain situations to try to agitate your faith, all right, to make you, damn, what if, okay, make you think certain things like, damn, is the Lord gonna come, whatever. All right, if you can overcome all of that and look past the surroundings and just focus on Yahweh Ba'ashim Al Shai, there is so much power in that. Because then, what could stop you? Nothing. Because then, what things could you accomplish? What could you achieve? Anything. Okay? Anything. Because nothing can mess with you. Nothing can overthrow your faith. You're single-eyed on Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, on that light, which is ultimately wisdom, the fear of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. Okay, that's what you gotta lock in on. All right, you gotta lock in on the fear. Focus, man. Focus. Speaking to myself first and foremost, of course. Focus. It's really time to really, really, really focus on that light, man. Okay? It's really time to focus and lock in and be full of that light right now, today, right now. Okay? As we're nearing 2026, okay, of course the New Year's is really spring, these people celebrate Janus. All right, where they have their New Year's like next week, all right, the end of December, whatever, okay? But we're nearing 2026, all right, and the Lord is requiring more, okay? The Lord is definitely requiring more, man, and it's going to take a lot more focus, okay, where you're going to need to be full of that light. You're going to have to, okay? And if not, then what are you focused on? Darkness. Next verse, Matthew chapter 6 and verse 23. But if thine eye be evil, you see, if you giving all your time to evil, okay, to evil, you focused on evil shit, all right, that's where you're putting your energy to, or even just a little bit, you're not going to be full. See, it's all about being full of that light. Yahweh Shai was full of that light. Look at him. All right, look at Yahweh Shai and his walk that he gave us as example, being full of that light. That's what we're trying to get to, man. All right, we want to mimic Yahweh Shai. But you're not going to mimic Yahweh Shai if you're not full of that light. It's just no way. It is no way possible, man. All right. And that light, of course, is what? The Holy Spirit, man. All right. The Ruach HaKodesh. You fearing the Lord, abiding in that fear. You can abide in that fear more. All right. But you got to be single-eyed. There's a lot of power when you're just single-eyed. You're focused. You can feel it. You can feel it. The sharpness you have about yourself. Okay. Versus when you giving into other stuff that really don't matter. You giving into, whatever, or vices. Okay. You being lazy, whatever it is. Okay. That darkness creeps in and it dims that light some. All right. And you can feel it. All right. Just don't feel the same. All right. But if you want to be on that powerful level, then you're going to have to be full of that light. Ain't no way you going to mimic what Yahweh Shah was doing and you're not full of the light. Okay. Verse 23, Matthew 6:23. It says, but if thine eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness? Okay. So you want to make sure you're full of light, man. All right. The fear of Yahweh Bashim Shai. Okay. And what you want to do, all right, is be focused. Now, just this word focus on Google definition says the center of interest or activity. Okay. It also says the state or quality of having or producing clear visual definition. Okay. Clear visual definition. So you want to be clear. All right. And the only way you're going to be clear is through the Holy Spirit. As we read in Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, in verse 22, it says, for wisdom, which is the worker of all things, taught me, for in her is an understanding spirit, holy, one only, manifold, subtile, lively, clear. Okay. So if you're focused, you're clear-minded, you're clear. Okay. But you're not going to be clear. You're not going to be completely focused or completely clear. All right. If you dwelling with evil. Okay. You got your eye on darkness. All right. You doing this, doing that. You giving into this, giving into that. All right. You're not doing these particular things that will make you more clear, which is fearing the Lord. All right. It's in wisdom. All right. Because wisdom is that light. Let's jump down to verse verse 26. It says, for she is saying she because it comforts you as a mother or a sister or a wife would. For she is the brightness of the everlasting light, the unspotted mirror of the power of Yahweh and the image of his goodness. Right. That's what you want to be full of, man. All right. It's power. Okay. It is pure power flowing from the throne. How are you not going to feel different? How are you not going, but you want to be full of that power. Okay. You want to be full of that light. The only way you're going to do that is by being more clear, which is abiding in that light, in the fear of the Lord more. That is the only way. It is no other way. Okay. That's the only way. All right. Which is going to require more sacrifice. How far are you willing to go? All right. More sacrifice. More is you got to pull more out of yourself. Okay. That's how you're going to be more clear. All right. You abide in the fear of the Lord more. You sacrifice more of the flesh. Okay. Do what you got to do. Okay. Now, I want to get Matthew chapter 3 and verse 16. All right. It says, and Yahweh Shai, when he was baptized, went up straightway out of the water, and lo, the heavens were opened unto him, And he saw the Spirit of Yahweh descending like a dove and lighting upon him. And lo, a voice from heaven saying, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." Okay? So the Lord is well pleased with Yahushua. Look at Yahushua in the way that he was single-eyed. He was focused on that light, man. Okay? Yahushua was completely focused. Yahushua was completely single-eyed. Okay? And in reward, the Lord Yahweh gave him power. That's how it works. He was full of that light. If you're full of that light, then you're full of what? Wisdom of Solomon chapter 7 and verse 26. It says in the middle of the verse, the unspotted mirror of the power of Yahweh. That's where the power is. All right. You want to be focused on that power, focused on that light, man. Okay. Just like Yahushua was. All right. And the Lord is going to reward you with that power. You're going to get more and more power. That's all that's going to happen. You're just going to get more and more of that power. And you're going to feel it. And you're going to see it. You're going to taste it, man. Okay? Look at the pleasure that Yahweh had in Yahushua. As he said, "This is my beloved Son, whom I am well pleased." All right? And look what Yahushua was doing on the scene. All right? Many things, man. So much so that we don't even know everything that he did. Okay? But he was focused on that light. He showed us how to get there. He was the one that said that. Okay? He is the one that put forth that saying. Okay? So let your eye be clear. Let you be focused, single-eyed. Okay? And once you do that, and everything else is blocked out of the way, and the distractions, because of course Satan is going to come. All right, try to put you in different situations. All right, try to put you in an uncomfortable situation. You know, now this is messing with you, or this bill, or a car problem, you know, whatever. Or send you some women or whatever, big booty Keisha, whatever. Now she trying to fuck with you at the job, whatever. Now all of a sudden you cute to her. Okay, now all these girls want to talk to you. Okay, different ways, you know, to draw that attention, to get that eye to turn to where some darkness can creep in and ultimately make it all dark. Of course, that's what he wants. All right. But, you know, to get that eye to turn from being so single, so clear, you know, you got to cut out all distractions. OK, this is really a time to really do that and focus on that, man, to focus right now. OK, the only way you're going to focus is through the Holy Spirit. All right. Abiding more in it. All right. Which is going to come with cutting off the flesh more. Okay. So, Lord's will, this was edifying. All right. Focus on the light. Be single-minded. All right. Let your eye be clear. All right. On that light, man. All right. And be full of the power, because that's what that light is. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bashim Al Shai for giving me the spirit and power to make this lesson. Until next time, Kamra Shalom.